A steam plant using a rebuilt Stuart 10V steam engine. This is part 1. A Clevedon Steam Pisces Babcock type boiler. The unboxing video, showing all of the parts in detail and loosely fitting most of the parts together. I would like to say before the video starts properly, I have no connection whatsoever with Clevedon Steam. So that you can see clearly where these parts came from, I've used the Clevedon Steam address in place of my main Steam address at the bottom underneath the copyright notice. This is not sponsorship in any shape, way or form. The parts were bought by a customer of mine and were sent to me in order to build a steam plant using the Stuart 10V engine that I've just rebuilt. This box contains all the parts needed to build a Clevedon Steam Pisces model boiler. Or should I say, assemble a Clevedon Steam Pisces model boiler. As you can see, it's a Babcock type because it has water tubes underneath. The centre tube, though, is a superheater. According to the boiler test certificate, this boiler barrel was made by a company called Pendle Steam Boilers. What I need to do first is remove all of the packaging. Currently, I'm unwrapping the gas burner support. This is made from stainless steel, as are the main components of the housing of the boiler. The next thing to be unwrapped is the chimney, I do believe. Yes, indeed, it is the chimney. Before I finish unpacking these parts and dispose of the packing materials in the boxes, I'm making sure that none of the parts are left in the boxes. I decided to do this on the kitchen table. This is just one of the joys of living by yourself. No one to complain that you're unwrapping steam engine parts on the kitchen table. I didn't make a video yesterday because I was down in Norwich attending the birthday party of my youngest granddaughter, who's 2 years old. Even though it was a long drive from York down to Norwich and back in a day, it was a very enjoyable experience. Let's have a closer look at these parts. This is the gas burner adapter, and this is one of the gas burners. At first I wondered what the brass ring was. You can see it on the bench. Here it is. This is the chimney cap. Eventually all the parts are on the table, including the instructions, the parts list and the boiler test certificate. This is a very well made comprehensive kit, and it even includes a bottle of thread sealant. Let's have a closer look. On the left are the 2 gas burners. This is obviously the chimney, and Jerry at Clevedon Steam kindly fitted me an exhaust pipe into it. This will make it very simple to connect up the exhaust condenser. Here's the ring that fits on the top. It's a bit tight and needs pressing on there. And here once again is the main boiler barrel, which is very well made indeed. And look at this. Plenty of boiler bushes. 2 of them are for the water gauge, 2 of them are for check valve inputs, and the small one at the top right hand side is for the pressure gauge. The big problem with a lot of commercially produced boilers is that they only have 1 check valve input. This will allow the connection of a hand pump and also something like a steam pump. That's very useful, and it saves me having to make a double adapter should I need to fit a steam pump, which in this case I'm not going to be doing, but that's not the point. Taking a really close look at this boiler shell, and I can't fault it in any way. It's really well made. At first I wondered what this bush was doing in the centre of the barrel. Then I figured it out. I will show what it is when I assemble the boiler. Here's a close-up of all the parts that came with the boiler to put it together. At the left-hand side, as I mentioned previously, are the twin gas burners. I am really impressed by the overall finish of the parts, and these are not made in China. All of the parts in this clip, and in fact all of the parts in the kit itself, are manufactured in the United Kingdom. I'm going to have a close look at one of these burners. They really are well made. And there's no ceramic in there to either cremate or break. I've used Clevedon Steam burners before and found them to be very good. I know that this is supposed to be an unboxing video, but I've done that, so what I'm going to do now is perform a dry assembly of the parts to see if they fit okay. For this loose assembly, I'm not going to be applying any of the thread sealant, just loosely fitting the parts and showing you where they fit. This is obviously the steam tap, and it fits into this hole, not the other one on the top of the boiler. The reason for this is because internally this boiler bush is connected to a pipe in the centre. This is the superheater pipe. Steam is picked up by the other end of it, which is right at the top of the boiler inside, and then the superheater pipe underneath goes back through the fire, so what you get out of the tap is really hot steam. There's another bush on top of the boiler, and this accepts a safety valve, which is complete with a silicone O-ring. You don't need to use any sealant on this. I'll show you the tube arrangement underneath the boiler in more detail. 5 tubes, but the centre one is different to the rest. This one, as I've just mentioned, is the superheater. The others are full of water. This boiler is of the Babcock type, and by having water tubes slung underneath the basic pot boiler, there is a much greater surface area for heat transfer. The Stuart 501 and 504 boiler types also use this centre superheater. Like a lot of things with steam engines, it's a very clever yet simple design. The chimney is a perfect push fit into the hole in the top of the boiler. The hole doesn't go anywhere, it just comes out the other side. This is to exhaust the products of combustion from the burners and helps to generate a healthy airflow over the burners. This pack of M3 bolts is to hold the boiler casing together. This is one of the gas pipes. It's the main one that goes from the gas canister via this tap, and it has a special knurled nut which tightens the pipe into the tap with an O-ring in between. Here's the water gauge that fits into the boiler backhead. Once again, it's beautifully made and very well polished. I've loosely fitted the supplied blanking plugs into the holes for the check valve, and I've also fitted the pressure gauge as well as the top water gauge fitting. The top one is the one with the nut on where the glass can slide through. And here, with the boiler in entirely the wrong place, is the completed backhead arrangement, although nothing is tight. I filmed this again with the boiler in a more sensible position. This is a really easy kit to assemble. All of the parts fit together perfectly, and even though my way of doing things is to do the job and then if I get stuck, look at the instructions, there are exploded diagrams, a full parts list, and step-by-step assembly instructions. Not forgetting the obligatory boiler test certificate. These parts are a pleasure to work with. Here is the double burner assembly. The burner mounting and the external casing is all made from stainless steel. The parts are laser cut to a high state of precision. And unlike guillotine parts, there are no sharp edges whatsoever. The external boiler casing fits together perfectly. I'm assembling this boiler for a customer, and I'm not going to paint it. I'm going to leave it in stainless steel. It will never rust anyway, and my customer is perfectly capable of painting this. I have seen some examples of his work. As I mentioned earlier, included in the kit is this bottle of nut lock or thread locker. This is going to be used to hold all of the brass fittings in the correct position when they're in the boiler. And when I think about it, this is a good idea. It's physically stronger than Loctite 542, and it will hold the parts rigidly in position, but it's not as aggressive as Loctite 603, so you can remove the parts if you wish, without heating everything up to destroy the bond. Jerry at Clevedon Steam also sent me this custom-built exhaust condenser oil trap. It's a bit taller and therefore larger than the usual ones that are manufactured by Clevedon Steam. It also comes with an instruction sheet to show you which pipe is which. I will be cutting the piece of silicone rubber to the correct length to fit the different parts of the condenser, but here you get the general idea of what the plant's going to look like. In the next episode I will be assembling this boiler for real. That's it for now. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.